the bigger story here is that the waves have been pumping in Southern California, and not just one run of swell. I feel like we've had almost 2 weeks now of almost non-stop surf. And a lot of this was documented in probably last Friday was that big push where Capitola Pier got broken in half. Just insane swell event where a lot of dormant spots like Sandspit have come back to life and actually been maxed out. Like Sandspit wasn't even good. It was just huge, you know?
Yeah.
I saw people towing Sandspit even. There was a tow team in the lineup that got a lot of ridicule. At this age, what is your policy? What are you doing? Do you surf? Do you avoid it? What are your thoughts?
Typically for me, I'll try to go to a place that's lolly and fat. And that's my big wave policy. Give me a lolly fat thing.
Okay. So you're avoiding the main impact of the swell.
Yes.
Yeah.
I am happily avoiding.
Me too. I can make an excuse in Orange County that there's really nowhere to surf when it's that big. It's too big. And you kind of need points or nooks and crannies. Actually, Laguna has some nooks and crannies that you can try to find that are also sheltered from the weather. But really, it's like San Diego has some points, up in LA and beyond have points. But if don't have a whole entire day free to drive and I have to like surf within 2 hours, there's really nowhere nearby.
But don't you have to don't you paddle out just because you have to paddle out as
I did
person in surf?
Yes, I did for many, many years. But at this point, that's kind of my question to you, is at this point in our lives, it's like, I'm not in peak conditioning. And so the amount of effort required to paddle out in that much water moving or to even make it out to the lineup, like, I don't know if I could even pull it off at a beach break that's 10 feet, tons of paddling, wearing all the rubber. It's like, I don't know if I'm even going to make it out. And then sustaining the wipeouts and all that come with it. It's like, I'm looking for, like you said, a spot that has shelter, a spot that's more lully, that's not hollow. And then I'll give it a go. I don't have a lot of access to that here, but what I found myself doing this last few weeks is avoiding the main day, trying to get it at the beginning of the swell or certainly the downside of the swell. There'll be a few days, and then try to find where there's a bend in the coast that isn't getting the full impact of the swell that I can get. You know, if it's a 10-foot day, I can find a 4-foot spot and then feel good about myself.
But I think the compunction, the necessity of paddling is there. Like, I think even if you're not going to go at the main, I'm not going to paddle blacks. Oh man, but blacks sure did look fun. It made me want to gear up for blacks next year, to be honest.
It didn't look fun to me. The guys that are actually getting waves out there, they're riding 8-foot boards, which I don't have. I don't have any boards like that in my quiver. And it's like, I don't really want anything to do with that anymore.
I mean, but those Pete Terrace, the old photo editor from Surfing and Surfer legend icon, Pete Terrace, had some shots from up the cliff of blacks that just looked so clean and wonderful. And it made me think, this is right down the street. How am I not training for blacks?
That's the thing, is you have to train for it. You can't paddle out there without being totally prepared. It's like Ocean Beach or something,
Except blacks, unlike Ocean Beach, it's not just like this wall of kind of nonsense. I mean, not that OB is nonsense, but it's just like this, thick line. Blacks, I feel you can get out there and then you gotta surf it when you're out there.
Well, it's much more defined.
Yeah.
It's actually way better than Ocean Beach, but the amount of effort required and strength required and cardio and all that stuff is still the same.
But that's where we should be, David Lee. That's where we should be. We should have reinvigorated passions at the start of this 2023.
I guess that really is the focus of my question to you, is like, I don't have that level of passion for doing that thing anymore. I see it and I think, oh, sweet, I'm going to wait for a 6-foot day.
But isn't that just a slippery slope? I mean, I hear you.
Yes, it is.
I want to gear back up to on the biggest day, I want to be at the best spot.
Yeah. Well, I admire you and I'm willing to be talked into it. I think, to be perfectly honest, is it testosterone production that wanes as you get older? Because what I'm trying to communicate is I don't have the drive within me. And
Yeah.
you can try to motivate me, but there's something in the core of me that isn't there any longer that used to be there.
But that's what I think. You need to whip the little amount that's there back into shape. You need to say, we want this, don't we? And just fake it till you make it.
Yeah, I think the training part kind of builds on itself. Like if you go for a run in the morning, you have more energy throughout the day. And then you actually find yourself craving more nutrient dense foods and all that sort of stuff. So maybe that is part of it, is just one foot in front of the other. And then the passion returns. And then maybe the testosterone production does kick in and all that sort of stuff.
I think that's what it is. I think it is easy to be sedentary, and it's not easy to go tackle stuff, but at any time. But once you start attempting, then it builds upon itself.
Yeah. Because I do admire a friend of mine, Jamin Luoto, who is co-owner of NVS Fins, the fin company. I've always thought the guy looks pretty fit. Even his Instagram photo, he's hulking, you know what I mean? Like six pack, but same stage of life as me, has a kid, all this sort of stuff. And he's always been health conscious. So I admire that. But he mentioned to me that he was surfing blacks during that big day. I was like, oh, sweet, good for him, you know? Well, then a random photographer got a photo of him and he sent me the photo. It is an absolute once in a lifetime photo of oneself surfing that you would blow up into poster size and hang in your wall. It is from the cliff looking down, a perfect barreling left. Like it looks like it would be pipeline, essentially 12 feet for sure on the face. And him having taken off right at the peak, and the image is of him bottom turning at the bottom of the wave with the barrel lining up. Who knows? He probably got shacked on that thing too, with a couple dudes out the back on guns, like sitting there on their guns with the board sticking out of the water, you know? So you kind of have perspective of the whole lineup and everything. And he is on the wave of the day. And I'm like, dude, I am so jealous of you. Whatever level of training that went into getting you into that position on that wave is worth it.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying, David. Like 2023 is the day. I mean, the start of the time when you and I are going to paddle blacks next year at this time.
When we started the show 199 episodes ago, I never would have thought it would be you motivating me to stay fit and get into the water.
That's what's going to happen. We're doing it.
I thought you were on the downward trajectory of just gluttony and hedonism.
It really was true, but I've seen the light now.